Welcome to the Green Podcast. My name is Dylan Welch. I'm the CEO of green.org and Dylan Welch Media. Our goal with this podcast is to bring you the biggest names and leaders in renewable energy, clean technology, and sustainability so that you can stay up to date with the latest trends and everything that is happening in this world. Not only that, you'll get some action items for your life so that you can apply some amazing things and make your world a better place as well. Let's get the show started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Green Podcast. Very excited to bring you our guest today. Our goal with this show is to bring you leaders, innovators in business, tech, finance, and all people who have some sort of passion for sustainability or doing something better for the planet. So our guest today, he's been listed as Atlanta's 40 under 40 rising star. He was a recent speaker at one of our green summits in New York City and was really inspired by the information that he was sharing. And he's got some really cool things he's working on. So excited to bring on Ali Elnaamani, the founder of allgram. Ali, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Dylan.
Of course. So real quick, let's kind of dive into your background. I want to talk about allgram, but first, let's get a little bit more familiar with you. How did you kind of get into the tech cybersecurity space?
I've been in the technology and cybersecurity market for over 15 years now. It's clear, honestly, that cyber and information security are both interconnected, and I was really fascinated with this topic from a really young age. I completed my undergrad in computer information systems. Then I progressed to obtaining an MBA with information security and started working for a Fortune 500 company, securing critical infrastructure. And that's when I got more and more fascinated with the evolution of cybersecurity, and especially at that time when it had to do with protecting critical infrastructure. I then obtained a master's in cybersecurity just to kind of learn about everything that's out there and strengthen my knowledge in the field. And I continued to be a lot more interested in the technology and the evolution of technology in that realm. So this is kind of a really exciting journey. I've seen a lot of gaps in the industry, a lot of things that are pretty scary when you get into the cybersecurity topic and really understand the threat that we live by every day, not just from a business threat perspective, but also the personal aspect. So I'm glad that we're able to talk about it today.
Yeah, no, you're a family man, public speaker, full-time job, and entrepreneur as well. Well educated, you kind of symbolize everything that we like to highlight here at green.org and the Green Podcast. So tell us a little bit about allgram and this new business that you've been working on lately.
Absolutely. In an era where communication and applications in general, for communication applications and social media applications dominate our lives on day-to-day basis, the critical need to safeguard our personal information and ensure that our online transactions and interactions remain private and secure is essentially important and paramount here. We depend on communication and on the internet in every aspect of our lives, from communicating with family, friends, to running our small business or large enterprise, or even protecting critical infrastructure. Everything depends on technology today. Our call today depends on a communication application that really took off during the COVID days, but it's been around for some time as well. Now, how can we do all of that? And also at the same time, think about reducing our carbon footprint and support sustainability. So how can we ensure security and privacy are the number one priority during our communication, during our interactions, when sending, receiving transactions between ourselves? And then also, how can we do all of that and still think about our planet at the same time? So this is what allgram is all about, and this is where allgram became the cross-platform secure communication and social lifestyle application that leverages peer-to-peer, so device-to-device technologies and architecture. And on top of all that, when it comes to the privacy and security aspects, introducing the validation of users, so the ability to transact securely and have this the knowledge of the person that you're transacting with becomes extremely important. So the final point like to make here is the introduction of digital identity together with the communication side is what really makes us unique out in the market. We live in a faceless interaction world today, a digital world, and the human touch is really very virtual. So the digital identity, the validation of that, together with the communication, is extremely important.
Yeah, I mean, I work in communications, I work in media, so I'm kind of surrounded by it. And it's a sort of a double-edged sword because we obviously need it. It's a part of our day-to-day lives. There's also great benefits of, being able to communicate with someone at the other side of the country immediately or the world, send money, send PDFs, emails, FaceTime, Zoom calls. But at the same time, it kind of does take over our lives in a certain sense. And I've been very fortunate enough to see the app. And it's really amazing. You have kind of built in all these different processes all these different apps that we sort of use day to day, the messaging, social media, being able to send money. And obviously I'm passionate about how you're doing the blockchain and using the phone to phone connection, reducing the need for these energy farms. But one thing that we've been kind of talking about, which it's always sort of in the back of my mind, but you just sort of like unfortunately block it as a person, is just sort of the data mining that happens within all of these apps. We've all been there where you say something out loud or you type something into Google, and then next thing you know, you're getting ads on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. And there's even like memes about how that's kind of funny, but in reality, it's not very funny. It's not a very good thing to just sort of be desensitized to that. And so when you were kind of breaking down, the digital ID and what that means, we no longer have these like usernames and like hidden behind, an emoji profile picture. It's really you on there, and the ability to, save all that information and keep it to yourselves, I think is really something that we just need as a planet. How has your experience working in cybersecurity, in these past 15 years? Obviously, you've been working for a Fortune 500 company, you've got your master's. How has it kind of changed since when you started to where we are today? Because a lot has changed in these past 15 years in terms of technology and communication, but how has that side kind of changed?
So technology evolves at an extremely fast pace. It evolves every hour as we speak today. Somebody's upgrading or updating a software solution, or new hardware is coming out. So it's essentially advancing in an extremely fast pace, and to keep up with the technology and securing it becomes extremely difficult. Now, when you think about the critical infrastructure, a power plant, for example, or a mission critical facility, they have operating systems. These operating systems typically require to be updated, but because you're running critical operations, because you've got people's lives attached to this on the critical side, it's not easy to just shut down a plant, for example, take it offline just to continue to upgrade and update their systems and patch their security holes and so on. So you're always running behind on the security aspect, right? Always wait for the right time. An update comes up for your phone, for Apple, for example, and it has a lot of security um, updates. You don't do it right away, right? You wait, you try to push it as much as possible. You want to continue to communicate. You're doing something critical. You're on a call. you don't want to push that update right now. So that period allows huge vulnerabilities in the systems all around the world. So, and the more technology advances, the more data becomes larger and larger, right? So we're talking about massive amounts of data collected in centralized servers and central operations, because I mean we live in a very fast-paced world, and we want things yesterday instead of now, and therefore a lot of these companies also collect your data, collect the conversations, collect every aspect of the communication, your lifestyle, so that they could provide you with faster and faster service. Unfortunately, this data becomes um, golden nuggets for the bad actors that are out there, for the intruders, for the ones who want to cause harm, whether they're nation states or whether they're just hackers who have the need for their own gains. And then you have the aspect of companies collecting this data, because data is money today, right? So they collect data to sell it to advertisers, to other companies, so that they could um, kind of push the users towards purchasing things continuously, shopping and getting things, and moving towards that way. So really fascinating at the pace that this has been moving on and moving at. But today, cybersecurity and information security falls quite a bit behind the technology. Yes.
Yeah, it is crazy because, on the consumer side, we want that direct, constant, immediate ability to do all of these things at once. And so, we rely on these companies to provide those services. But at the same time, as you kind of mentioned, there's bad people out there who are trying to hack that information to get in and steal your information. And so these companies, they're trying to keep up with the technology, to be able to serve the consumers. But then at the same time, they've got to be able to sort of protect you from those things. And it's all just sort of continuously happening at such a fast pace. It's really, really crazy to think about. Where did your sort of passion and inspiration to start Allgram come from? Because like I said, you're a busy guy, you've got a family, got a full-time job. Here you are launching this new, communications app with the goal to kind of shake up the status quo and disrupt some, big billion-dollar, corporations out there. So how do you kind of manage it all? And what was sort of your drive to do this?
Obviously, number one is my passion for cyber and information security, but also the fact that um, I don't like it when um, the advertisement aspect becomes a little too much today, right? And I don't like the the metadata perspective of uh, what these companies talk about collecting. I think it's a lot more than that, right? For you to stitch a picture of something that I need and want and may want in the future, and tell me that this is what you need is kind of scary, So the metadata collection, I think, is it definitely goes beyond that. And then the other aspect is, when you're talking to your family, or when you're in business and you're sending sensitive files and you're sharing things, sometimes you want to share more things with your family, in terms of, hey, you want to use this credit card for this. I mean, we all do it. I mean, hey, here's my credit card number, here's my social number, use it to do this thing. People still do that.
Mhm.
How could you ensure that, with the centralization of all of these applications that are out there, that your data is just sitting out there on a server waiting to be compromised? So all of these different applications today, they talk about end-to-end encryption. They talk about um, the encryption of your messages and your data, but they all have centralized data centers with massive amounts of servers, where all of your conversations from the day you sent a message or a picture, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years ago till today, is hosted, right? They host all of this information and they have it. And plus, on top of that, they have your encryption keys because they hold on to that information on their centralized servers. So if these servers would get compromised, your data is on there, your encryption key is on there, they're hosting it, and essentially you're at the mercy of, you know, all the other millions of people
Mhm.
that are on there that will be compromised, or is it you, right? Are you next in line? So all of these things together made me realize that there has to be a better solution that's out there. So we thought about how can we have a a platform that allows device to device communication, so that if I'm talking to my wife or I'm talking to my business partner, this conversation stays between us and nobody else will be able to compromise this data in any way at any time. So at allgram, we allow the users to generate their own encryption keys. We don't hold on to encryption keys, and for them to save their encryption keys at a safe place. There's nowhere for us to save their encryption keys, and we don't want to do that. Plus, the data is peer to peer, which when you're communicating, it's device to device, phone to phone, laptop to laptop, and this is the way that it should be. And then to prevent the bad actors from actually leveraging the application for their own gains and for bad things to happen, um, you've got the digital identity, right? So the validation of users through our blockchain, and our blockchain is a completely is an all-ground blockchain, completely developed by us. It's not based on Ethereum's blockchain or any other blockchain, so it's allgram's blockchain. So the validation of users is important so that you know I'm communicating with this person. It's a validated ID, and yeah, so it's really a lot of exciting things, and we can't wait to bring this solution to the market.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait as well because, even you and I were texting a few days ago. You were asking about a podcast microphone, and I sent you one. And then guess what I get the next like 2, 3 days? Ads on Google and Instagram for podcast microphones. So, and then not only that, another thing you mentioned, which kind of like brought back memories, I don't want to put anything out there too much, but I will say that like in past work experiences, I've known people to send, a text message picture of a business credit card. Hey, I got to pay for this. Here, use this card. And just knowing that information is still out there somewhere. Or you go on Facebook, we kind of talked about this last time we spoke. Someone messages you from high school who you haven't talked to in 15 years, and that, the same conversation you left off with from 2010 pops right back up. And it's kind of interesting and funny, like, oh yeah, we can read back about what we talked about, but just knowing that information is out there, and the thought of, say someone is able to hack into that information, it wouldn't be that hard to, create some script or some AI to, hey, find anytime someone mentions password, login information, search for an image that looks like a credit card. We're really making ourselves so vulnerable, and it's becoming the norm. So I'm glad that you're kind of providing this all-in-one solution to still be able to communicate with each other, your friends, your family, your work. Um, Implementing, the sustainability side of not having to have these massive server farms where all of our data gets collected, the digital ID, which, basically locks it in as, hey, this is this person who we're talking to. And just the direct phone to phone, computer to computer aspect is, it's really important. You're kind of taking like all these different things that kind of coexist and bringing them all together. So thank you for, for when your day is about to end and you put your kids to bed, you've had a long day at work, still get up and chug along. I appreciate that and respect it a lot. So where do you kind of see, allgram going in the future? What are the next, maybe 3 to 4 months? What's going to happen 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years? What's sort of your vision for what's to come next?
Yeah, so lots of things we're working on right now. One of them that I'm actually very excited about is our marketplace. allowing developers and influencers to actually have their own marketplace where they can create and upload unique emojis or images or backgrounds that they could leverage for the allgram application itself. So this is going to be a unique concept where um, the community can actually chime in and contribute to the greater good or contribute to allgram as a whole. So we're really excited about the marketplace, and it's going to be unique and specific to allgram. The other thing is we think the transactions, so sending and receiving funds, is becoming more and more important, especially instant transactions. So along with our digital identity and digital ID capabilities, we want to allow users to transact and kind of have this all-in-one application where you're communicating. You're having your own calendar that's on there that can be validated through your digital ID, and then have the ability to transact and even save files on our distributed network, right? So a lot of people want to save files, they want to save images, they want to back up their data on their computer. Well, we have a platform as part of Allgram that does not um, uh, save all of your data in a central place. It's completely distributed across many thousands and thousands and millions of nodes out there, in a very encrypted way without having any centralization of servers and data centers. So a lot of things we're cooking, a lot of things are ready, and a lot of things we still want to build. But our ultimate goal is to ensure the data privacy and security of our people and their data, and also ensure that we really do do good by our environment and make sure that these data centers that are being leveraged today with all these different apps are leveraged less and less as people join Allgram, and really have a more meaningful conversation with people that we care about without the fear of the advertisers taking over and stealing our data.
Yeah, so I mean, I was kind of taking some notes and just, listing out these features that you've built into it. You've got messaging, you've got social media, you've got a calendar, you've got marketplace, you've got a way to make send money, send files. I love it because you're kind of taking all these apps that we use on a day-to-day basis, combining them into one, but doing it with, a positive vision, positive goals, caring about the environment, protecting people's data. I can't wait for, you to kick it off and see where it goes. How can we kind of support you? How can the audience get involved?
So we're going to release one of our first version for the first 1,000 users that are going to be grandfathered in. So if you go on our website, allgram.com, and click on download, you could actually register to be one of the first 1,000 users of Allgram. There's going to be some perks and things, other things like that for our first 1,000 users that are going to test our beta, help us understand how we can do better and improve the application over the next couple of months. So please go in and register so that we know, and we let you know that uh, you're one of the first 1,000 users, and when the application is going to be ready for you to install and download.
Yeah, that's amazing. First 1,000 users, you have the opportunity right now. Imagine being one of the first users of Facebook when it came out. So, um, Ali, thank you so much for popping on today. I know it's a Friday afternoon. It's probably pretty late for you. I appreciate you taking the time to be here for one, for being a speaker at our Green Summit, just having, kind of the ambition, the goals to build something like this. I know it's not easy. And again, want to thank you for taking some time for chatting with us today.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it as always.
Of course, we'll have to have you back on, next few months to hear more about these feature updates and hear about the 1,000 users. But to everyone listening, watching, sharing, my goal here with the Green Podcast is to bring leaders, innovators like Ali, who are going above and beyond in the business, tech, finance, cybersecurity world, sustainable world, to not only, build successful businesses, but to share that information so you can apply it to your life, or download something, or share something, or get involved with a community to impact and make a positive change on your life. So I thank you so much for listening, for supporting the show, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Green Podcast. If you are interested in being one of the 1,000 first users for Allgram, I'm going to drop the link, allgram.com, in the bio, and you can click it right there and be one of the first 1,000 people to check it out. And until then, have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into the episode. My name is Dylan Welch. Appreciate it. As always, stay up to date with the latest information on green.org and dylanwelch.com. Dylan Welch Media is a full-service media and communications agency dedicated to promoting, marketing, and helping businesses in clean tech, renewable energy, and sustainability grow, get more clients, get more customers, get in front of their ideal clientele. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in joining the Green Summit, go to www.green-summit.org. Reserve your ticket today. There's very few spots left, so make sure you get on that ASAP. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.